Welcome back to the Getting Results Inc. podcast. My name is Coach Gino, and today we have a special podcast for everyone. We have some special guests, and we're going to change up what we do typically. And we have some true capitalists on the line with us today. And as you all know, Super Coach is all about protecting America for capitalism. So today we got a great family here. We got Chris Lambert from Lubbock, Texas, and Chris is a client of Getting Results Coaching. And with him, he's got his wife Holly and his daughter Piper. So today's podcast, this family has a cool little business. Yes, Chris is a financial advisor, but he also, with his family, created a side business called West Texas Beard Company. And so today we wanted to talk about that experience, how they came about creating that, and maybe even share with you all some, for those of you who have beards out there or family members who have beards, that there's a great product out there that you could be sharing with your families, friends, clients, or for yourself. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Let's do it. So first, Chris, family, give us some background about yourselves. Tell the audience about who you are, kind of a little bit about you.
My name's Chris Lambert. I grew up in Abernathy, Texas, which is 20 miles north of Lubbock, which if you don't know where Lubbock is, find Amarillo on the Texas map and go down about 100 miles. That's where Lubbock is. I was born and raised in Abernathy, never left, married Holly in my mid-20s. She's a Lubbock girl. She's never left. This is kind of our watering hole. Piper is 18 and she has an older brother, and our oldest child his name's Jones, and he goes to school and swims for the University of Utah. So for the last 10 years, 12 years, if I'm not at the office doing financial stuff, or we're not at a show selling beard products, we're probably around a swimming pool watching him compete.
Cool.
But that's about it, I guess. That's
Awesome. Anyone else, if you want to share anything else? Holly, you want to share anything about yourself?
Um, well, I just I started off as a diving instructor out of college and did that for a while, and then homeschooled our kids for about 3 years, and then went into do some personal training and group fitness, things like that. And then ended up doing West Texas Beard Company. Just kind of fell into it. It wasn't intentional. It was just something that naturally happened.
Cool. And Piper, what are you up to these days besides the beard company?
I'm usually working either at Texas Tech or at Chili's, and I'm also in the junior ROTC program at my school to help me get ready for the Air Force.
Awesome. That's pretty cool. Well, thank you for your service and future service.
Thank you.
So here's the real reason we brought you on, besides being able to talk about, how great you all are and all that. But, Chris shared some of the story about how this company came about. And I said, you know what? We got to have you on the podcast. So, Chris, tell the story, and anyone can jump in whenever they want. Tell us about how this company came about.
So, I mean, it was as simple as I started growing a beard out, and a buddy of mine gave me some beard oil, and it smelled good and everything, and it was pretty small. And I go, dude, what'd you pay for this? And he goes, it's $20. And I was like, dude, that is liquid in a bottle for $20. That's crazy. I can make that. And so on the coattails of that conversation, it was that weekend, and I started looking online, like how to make beard oil and stuff. And this knucklehead, Piper, she was 10. Were you 10 at the time?
9.
9. She was 9. And, our kids do chores, and they have their 3 little piggy banks of, spending, giving, and savings. And, so we were trying to instill that methodology in our kids early. So, I mean, it's kind of like, around the house, they just do whatever we say. And then we have a little chore chart on the refrigerator, and we would pay them X amount of dollars for doing chores. Well, it was a Saturday morning, and she had woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And she did not want to fold clothes that morning, but she was going to fold clothes. And so her folding clothes turned into wadding clothes, like rolling clothes up and just putting them in a pile, and then just had a tacky attitude about it, which that doesn't fly too well around here. And so I just decided I was going to fire her. And so I told her, I said, Piper, I said, you're just going to do what I told you to do because I told you to do it, and we're not gonna pay you for doing that. I said the life lesson here, it might come off like it's a little bit early for that, and maybe it was. I don't know, but I've always thought this, Gino, just from part of my, I guess, how I grew up and kind of some of the turns that life took. Like life's coming one way or another. It's coming sooner or later. We're gonna have to learn how to deal with life, and something I've mentioned to the kids, they'd probably tune me out at this point, is like today's about as easy as life is ever going to get. It's going to get harder from here, so let's learn how to deal with today. And so that's my approach, even at 9 years old with Piper, is like, might as well learn this lesson now. So I said, hey, I might not be paying you, but you're going to earn money. Okay. And so what happened is you just got fired. And that's real world stuff. Like if you have a bad attitude and you do bad work, people are not going to employ you. So I'm not going to pay you to have a bad attitude and do bad work. I said, but you're also going to make money. So your job now is to tell me how you're going to do that. And she said, well, what do I do? I said, well, you can either you're going to do one of two things. Either you're going to sell your time to somebody else and they're going to pay you a wage for the time that you sell them. And that's how you get compensated. And you're going to do what they want you to do when they want you to do it and all that fun stuff. I said, there's nothing wrong with that. Most people make money that way. I've made money like that for years and years and years. There's nothing wrong with it. Or you can start your own and you call all the shots, but also with that comes all the responsibility. So it's not like the grass is always greener on the other side. We just got to decide how we want to earn. And I said, I want you to go downstairs and I want you to think about it. So she goes downstairs and she comes back up. And I said, well, what'd you decide? And she goes, I'm going to start my own business. And I go, great. What is it? And she goes, I don't know. I was hoping you could help me out with that. And I was like, well, okay, as long as we're learning lessons. I said, lesson 2 is if you come to your dad and ask for help, you're probably going to get it. So I got this bottle of beard oil. I want to figure out how to make it and you're going to help me. And so that's where it started. So her and I got on, we got on Amazon and Pinterest, and all the things that would tell you how to make beard oil. And we just started sourcing containers and oils and scents and all. And kind of just started our own little lab, Gino, where we were just mixing scents up, a drop, 3 drops of this. How does that smell? 4 drops of this and 5 drops of this and a little bit more of this oil. And we did that for weeks and weeks and weeks. And we got 5 scents that we really liked. And so, it was just this kind of bottle, just an amber bottle with a dropper. And we put just a little Post-it note on there and we would write the name that we came up with for it. So we came up with 5 names. And so we had a product line now and it was just beard oil. Okay. And I go, okay, let's.
So wait, Chris, can I say, so Piper,
Sure.
what was your side of the story in this? Is this accurate?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. I was a little fart as a kid, apparently that one day. And so I was folding clothes really bad. Dad came up to me and told me I was doing a bad job and that I was fired. But I still had to fold clothes, so.
And do it correctly.
Yeah, that too. Told me to go downstairs, think about how I'm going to make money. Came back up, said I wanted to start a business, and he told me about this.
And she's pretty crafty. Like, she loves to make things or do things, or she likes to get on YouTube when she was little and figure out how to make whatever, or braid her hair. And she would self-teach herself on so many different things, and she would always really surprise us in those little areas. And so that was, I honestly was not paying attention to any
At all.
Except for the fact that all of this happened on my kitchen table, and I'm a type A clean freak, and this stuff is just everywhere. And I would keep putting it up like in a box and moving it, and we would have our differences.
We had a lot of discussions about the cleanliness of her space.
It's like, this is the table, and I'm going to need y'all to get your stuff off of my table at the end of your doing your things day.
That's awesome. And
Me and
Holly,
Piper and I were like, this is our beat lab. This is where we make hits right here.
That's awesome. Little did you know that capitalism was in its infancy in your house, and that eventually you would be fully involved in that capitalism.
I would have never thought that.
Love it.
So we had the concept, right? We were like, hey, Now it's time to go out and see if it sells. And so we were going to it was when Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather Jr. So he went to some friend's house, and I go, Piper, I want you to sell this beard oil to guys that have beards in there. And she goes, how do I do that? I said, well, you walk up to them and you say, have you ever tried beard oil? And they're going to say, no, what's that? And you're going to pull out your little bottle and you're going to get a drop. You're going to tell them to hold their hand out. They're going to do it because you're 10 years old and cute. And you're to squeeze 4 or 5 drops in there, and they're going to go, what do I do with it? And you're going to tell them to go like this and rub it through their beard, and it's going to smell outstanding, and they're going to hand you $20. And so she came home that night with $80, and
Wow.
We get up the next day, and I go, well, hey, you were making like $10 a week folding clothes and doing what I told you to do at the house. You just made $80 in one night. How do you want to make money? And she was, I want to make it doing something like that. And I said, well, there we go. I said, now we've got to come up with a name. And so we came up with a name, and then I go, well, now we have to have a face of the franchise. And that's where the logo came from. Called in a
Yep.
buddy, and he did
Those
a
you're
few
watching,
mock-ups for us. Yeah.
we have
Yeah.
logos.
Well, that
Everyone's wearing the
came,
t-shirts.
yeah, that actually came a little bit later because, as Chris said earlier, we would travel all over for these swim meets. And so the first time she went and sold to some friends, then she got real brave. She would take all of her little thing, and the only thing we had at the time was just beard oil. So she would grab like a little purse at first, and she would put all the beard oils that she had, she'd just shove it in her purse. And then she would randomly walk up to people that had beards at a swim meet, have no idea who these people are, and do the whole thing. And she started making money at swim meets. Then
Wow.
we would go to lunch or whatever, and she would just walk up to random tables
Randos, just
and sell people stuff.
Love it.
There was a man, a young guy about our age, and back then, yeah, that was like, oh, this is so cool. He's kind of a biker kind of dude, him and a bunch of buddies. And he's like, y'all have an Instagram page? And we were like, no, we don't do all that. Well, he was like, well, if you create an Instagram page, we'll, I don't even know what you say about that, but
he did a post. He did a post right then.
They did a post, but then he's like, if you create an Instagram page, then we'll tag you. And I was like, okay. So they started that. And then upon that whole conversation, that's when Piper was like, hey, I want to do some labels. So then we got with our friend Toby,
created
and
the
logo.
Awesome.
And then none of this was done for it to be where it is today. It was literally just like, hey, we might as well learn a lesson and teach a lesson while we have the opportunity to do it. And then, Piper starts making money with the thing. And the work, it starts going like we have our logo created and create a Facebook page. And then people start wanting to order. Well, we didn't have an online store or anything like that. I'm like, oh man, we got something going on here. And I go, Holly, I need some more, because I've got a real job, right? And I was like, Holly, I'm running out of essential oils. I need more. Like, I need you to go get that for me. So Holly at the time was a certified personal trainer, and she was in. I don't know if drug emporiums exist up there in the Northeast or not, but I mean, it's a grocery slash health supplement store kind of place. And so she was in there all the time sourcing proteins for her clients, and the store director just happens that day to walk up to her, and he goes, hey, you're in here all the time. Why do you come in here so much? She goes, well, I'm usually in here for this, but today I'm in here because my husband and daughter started this beard company and they're wanting me to buy these different essential oils. And something to the effect of,
then he goes, and I said, would you like to see them? I said, would you be interested in wholesaling with me? I said, I can sell you. I was like, I don't see any beard care in your store. And he goes, yeah, let's make an appointment. I go, actually, I have it all out in my car. I can bring it in right now if you have time. And he goes, sure. So I brought the scents that we had at the time, which was just oils. We didn't have any bombs, and brought them and sold them every every fragrance that we
He made like a $1,500 order on the spot,
yeah.
which we didn't have enough product on hand to fulfill that
So
order.
I had to go order a bunch of stuff.
Nor did we have an LLC formed or a sales tax ID to sell to a store like that. So every penny that we made from that sale went to form the LLC, and that's how it got started.
Yeah,
That's
he
awesome.
pretty much taught me that. Oh, you have to go get a tax ID. You have to do this. You have to do this. And I was like, okay, well, let me work on all that, and then I'll get back to you. So that's how we kind of got legit.
Wow. Awesome. So Piper, what lessons did you learn from this experience or have learned from it? Like, that's not typical for a 9-year-old to start a business.
No, definitely not. But it definitely helped me be more outgoing, brave, because I was always a very talkative and happy little girl, but it's always nerve-wracking walking up to random strangers, for sure, and just talking to new people. So I had to learn to be more comfortable talking to people and learning how to take no. The first time I got told no when I was selling, I couldn't take that personally. It was nothing to do with me. Turned around, went to the next person, made a $30 sell.
That's awesome. For our listeners out there, I'm sure that you can relate as a financial advisor, a salesperson, right? Like what you're doing is exactly what our clients do. They got to get out there in front of people. And in a lot of cases, right, Chris, knocking on doors of people they never met and don't know. And you did it at 9 years old. Amazing.
For sure. I really enjoyed it.
That's actually a really good story. We had this place that we hung at. It's a pinball bar. So it's like gourmet bratwurst, hot dogs, that kind of stuff, and pinballs. And then, you get beer there and whatever else. But that was kind of our hangout because it was down the street from the swimming pool, and the kid was swimming an hour and 45 minutes every night. So we would just go down there and hang out. And in walks this group of guys, all have these huge beards. And Piper gets her little satchel, and she goes over there. And that first guy looked at her like she had two heads and kind of, chuckled at her. And he's like, no.
Brushed her off.
And Piper looks at him, puts her stuff up, and walks to the next guy. Like she said, made a $30 sale. So she took that no right on the chin and said, whatever, and kept on going. So that you can't teach that, I don't think.
No, that's certainly a bigger lesson than folding towels.
Yeah.
Or clothes. Yeah.
But she still struggles with doing it the right way.
She may never get the folding right, but she can sell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's that. Which one's more important?
Awesome. That's really cool. So, Super Coach, did you have something? I saw you there.
Good work. Thank you for keeping America safe for capitalism, especially in this younger generation. Right? We all know we have a lot of flags to carry for America, so I love it. But one of the things I'd like to point out here for some of our listeners and even for some of our clients, there's some great ideas, some great concepts that Piper was highlighting, and I'm going to share them with you outside of financial services, but it also applies directly to financial services. One of the things I'd also like everyone to notice is that how passion and drive move the world, right? That passion that Piper has for making money, but it moves the world because knowing how way leads on to way, and this idea of the niche weird, knew her target market without a doubt, right? Very clear. Dudes with beards. Now, is that a little bit weird? Yeah, that's weird because I don't have a beard, right? But the clearer you are on who your target market is, the easier it is to find them. And then notice too how way leads on to way, walks into the health food store, starts talking about essential oils, and bam, gets a wholesale contract. Like, how does that happen? It's that courage of passion and drive, right? It's that passion and drive that moves the world. And when you have the courage to walk up to people and share things, once again, it produces results. It's how you make money. That's awesome. It's a young capitalist. Good. Go conquer. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes, indeed. So let's talk about your product line. Do you have some, can you talk a little bit about the product line, what you have, maybe what it looks like for those viewing this on YouTube and on video?
Yeah, so this is Piper's blend. So this is one of the original fragrances. I think we kept 3 out of the, I don't know, 5 or 6. So Piper's Blend, this is one that she made, and it's really nice. It's lavender, jasmine, and vanilla. Just a soft, clean fragrance. You know, you say those 3 fragrances and you think girly, and it's not girly. It's super clean. It's nice. And it also has a balm. So the balm is, sorry, it's more of a butter. And so oil, you do oil under the skin to the beard. Oil goes to the skin. It helps with hydration, itchiness, dryness. So like whenever you're growing a beard, the oil is your best friend. So you want to rub that oil to your skin as much as you can, as many times a day as you want. That will help with growth. It will help with that irritation and itchiness while you're growing. And then you still continue to use that oil throughout the lifetime of that beard because you want to keep all that moisture to your skin.
So Holly, can I stop you there? So when I try to grow my beard, I usually stop because it feels dry and it feels itchy and all that. So you're saying that would prevent that from happening?
Yes. Well, it's not going to prevent it 100%, but it's going to help the irritation. So you have like a 2-week-ish period that your face is frustrated. So that's really going to help that. And then once your beard hair gets longer, then you're going to use that balm. You just use the back of your thumb, scoop it out, emulsify it, and then you just rub it through, comb it down, and that's going to lay those pieces down, condition it, make it look groomed. It's like a face pomade, the same way you would use for your hair, although this balm has a lot more nutrients for your beard hair than like just a hair pomade.
Got it.
And then your other staple, this is a small travel one. This is a beard and face wash. And we use a unscented wash. Chris and Piper created all of this. I had nothing to do with any of the creation of any of these beard products. But your staple is an oil, a balm, and a wash. That's what we tell everybody. Everybody needs that if you're going to grow a beard.
Cool. So, hey, Chris, what's your flavor of choice or type of scent?
No, of course I'm going to say I like them all, but Maverick is probably if I had to go with one forever, Maverick. Piper's Blend would be the second for me, and then the original, the very first one we developed, would be the third.
Yeah. And that original is sandalwood, cedarwood, and pine.
A real popular one is Cowboy because it smells like leather. And I just ran across a guy last night that came up. He goes, "Hey, you're the guy that sells the beard stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "What's that scent that smells like leather?" And he goes, "That's all." He goes, "That's all I'll use." And it was weird. And I was like, "Why is that all you'll use?" Because you got 5 others that you can go with. And he's like, "Man, because I grew up on a ranch, and it reminds me of how I used to grow up living on a ranch." Yeah. So it's a nostalgia thing for him, which I thought was cool.
And then we have this one's called Smitty. That's just our nephew's nickname. He was in the Army, and so we did a commemorative for him. So around the tin and the bottle, it says "Forever a Soldier." So it's just one of those cool things. Do a little commemorative, and we always do discounts for every service member if they, ask about that.
Very
and
cool.
Then we also have stash wax. So if you see those cowboys that like to curl their mustache, then that's what this is. And then we have, I didn't bring all of our products out, but then we have some other products that we started carrying when we started traveling and doing some of these shows. We started doing a solid cologne. We have like the men's and like little slider tins, and then we have little round ones.
Yeah, now we're getting into nothing to do with beer.
Yeah.
It's just...
And then we have solid perfume, and that all happened because one of our wholesale boutique places here in Lubbock asked us to create that. And so Chris and Piper figured out how to make it, and then we started making it. So the products that we carry are, usually upon request. People are like, hey, can you make a bomb? So they figured out how to make the bomb. Can you make a wash? Can you make this? Can you make that? So we've started expanding our product line based on need.
Very cool. So, and then of course you have the t-shirts, which we showed, and Chris, you have the hat on, right? You want to show, I think the hat's kind of cool. It's on my list to get a hat too. So we get the hats too.
We have different ones,
Yeah, we got a ton of different hats.
bunch of different
Cool.
hats.
Cool. Awesome. So Chris, for you, right? What lessons have you learned in running this business that maybe, parallel what you're doing over, as a financial advisor, if any?
Well, yeah, I don't know if as much as it is parallel to a financial advisor. I think Piper's story is great. Is the resiliency and being told no and not let that affect your next step. Like if you take no personally, you're in the sales is the wrong profession for you, right? Because the no's are coming all the time. It's just getting to the next yes. I think what I've learned the most is more about Holly and Piper, and a little bit about myself. So I've learned along the way that I am not the best at execution, but I'm not too bad at being creative. And so I'm more of an idea guy. And then what works really good is that Holly's an execution person. So if you told Holly to run through that brick wall, she would say how many times. And if you say until you knock yourself out, that's what she would do. Like Holly, you just point her in the right direction and she'll go do it. That doesn't sound like much fun to me to do the same thing over and over and over, but I like creating new things and then trying them out, saying, ooh, that works out really good. But then I would like to delegate that to somebody else. So
Yeah.
Piper is a mix of both of those things. So Piper to me is an alley cat. She's had such an interesting junior high and high school time, and just getting to watch it from the front row. She decided on her own she was going to go to the Air Force. She got her 2 jobs that she has right now. She didn't ask permission. She just went and got them. And just knowing that she, like, in whatever scenario, that she's going to be good. Like, I'm not worried about her. I worry more about our son than I do our daughter when it comes to like next phase of life. But really watching Holly flourish with just taking action and knowing exactly what she needs to do from here to here, I'll get it done. And then knowing that Piper it has the creativity and she can also go execute consistently. That's one of the things that I've taken away the most.
Got it. And so Holly, obviously you had nothing to do with the beginning of this, but it sounds to me now that you've assumed a greater role for the business. So what's that been like, and what does that look like for you?
Well, I mean, the first, like what I said about in Drug Emporium, that was the first day and the first moments of me going, okay, it's my turn to kind of tag in and start doing some of these things, because Piper's in school, he's at work. I have a job to where, I'm still personal training, but I could do a whole lot more. So from that point, I started looking into travel shows. We would go to Big Spring. We would go, to all these posts. We would go to all of these smaller surrounding towns from Lubbock, Odessa, Midland, and in our travel trailer as a family. And we would
spend weekends
in a parking lot, boondocking in our travel trailer, having a good time. So our kids went to Abernathy school at that time, and it's a really small school, and everybody's close, and half of them are your family because you grew up there. And you could check your kid out and they'd be like, all right, deuces, y'all have a lot of fun. You can't do that in these bigger schools. We just took our kids out of school a couple days and we would just go, and we would do this as a family. We would be inside selling. We would swap. The boys would go out and throw the football. It was just a lot of good family time. And
the boys mostly threw the football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got in, I expanded and got into some bigger shows like junior league shows, the Christmas holiday shows that cost a whole lot more to get into but your return is so much better. So I remember the first time that I did a holiday happening or a junior league Christmas show, it was pretty nerve-wracking, but the return was so good. And, it gets your confidence up. You figure out, I'm not going to mess with these little shows anymore. I'm going to do these. And then you figure out, okay, I'm only going to do shows during the Christmas time, and I'm not going to do all these during the year because it's just not profitable in the long run. You're just like sitting there beating your head against the wall for,
She figured out what didn't work. And it's kind of, in financial service, it's kind of like, you get it. Well, you need to go have a bunch of seminars at this restaurant, and that kind, then you're like, I don't know if I want to do that anymore. It's not really the way I want to get clients, so you start figuring out what works for you, and I think more so what doesn't work.
Yeah. And then, we got a website. We did some things like that. Like Chris said, my superpower is not, going out and researching different things. And that's not what I'm good at. I'm task oriented. You give me a task and I'm like, okay, that's done. What's next? That's me. I'm good at that. I've had to learn how to be better at being more creative and being more, what am I trying to say? Like, just
she's evolving.
I'm getting better.
She doesn't give herself enough credit at what she's grown into, but I hear what she's saying. Yes, you are task oriented, but you're more creative than you give yourself credit for.
Yeah.
Well, we all have strengths, right? And it's about leveraging your strengths. There's nothing wrong with that. It's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a fun question for you guys to play with. You said something very interesting. You said it costs more, but the return is better. Right? So you're defining who your market is. You're defining where your niche is. And then you notice within your niche, there are certain price points that are higher. But if you're willing to pay them, it gets you a greater return, if you will. So just a fun question for you guys as a family. I love that you're doing it as a family. I mean, the family's been the oldest business unit throughout time. And that time with your kids, boondocking, is so special, right? You'll never forget that for the rest of your lives. But in keeping America safe for capitalism, just for kicks and giggles, is how you're going to increase revenue and product sales by a factor of 10 in the next 6 to 12 months. Yeah, play with it. Remember, there's no right answer, because here's a beautiful thing. If you believe it's possible, probabilities of fulfillment will begin to present themselves to you. So Piper thought it was possible that people with beards would buy her product. And an amazing thing happened. She began to see people with beards. She walked up to them and said, "Hey, would you like this product?" And they said yes, because she believed it was possible. All of us are only constrained by one thing, and we're constrained by our own thoughts, our own level of self-concept, right? But if you're willing to push that a little bit, and maybe you can't do revenue by 10 times, but by being in this inquiry, you increase your revenue by 4, 5, or 8, that's still a pretty big win, right? Of playing in that possibility, just for kicks and giggles. Like, well, and you don't have to be right. You can say something totally ridiculous, like you get on Saturday Night Live. That could be ridiculous.
Or Shark Tank.
Piper, what are your ideas?
Lord.
Piper knows. Piper, you
Do
know.
I?
I said she knows. How do you do it?
I don't quite know.
If you did know, what would you say?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, gosh.
Remember, you don't know, so no matter what you say, it doesn't matter because you don't know. But if you did know, what would you do, or what would it be, or what would you have to buy or be introduced to, or what's that next level?
What store would you want to be in? If you could snap
There you
your
go.
fingers and be in a store tomorrow, where would you be?
Ooh.
How
One
about
store.
Walmart?
No. Put me
No?
in Target. I like
Yeah.
Target.
Oh, yeah.
But do people with beards shop at Target?
I believe it. Or their wives do.
Because you're going to,
okay.
I sell more to women than I do to men, hands down.
Really? Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
the women are buying for the men.
All right,
and then
so
the men
so
are
really, so your
return
target.
purchasers. Yeah.
So it's really the female is your target. Interesting. So for
They
once
have as
again, for
much to
kicks
do
and
with it.
giggles, females do.
Mhm.
Yes.
You know what?
Happy
A
wife,
strange,
happy
maybe a
life.
strange market is beauty salons.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm
Beauty
telling you
salons.
that the niche is those boutique walk-in shows. Like you do those weekend boutique shows around Christmas, and those, hands down, those have been our biggest producers.
Got it. Got it. How would you scale that?
Explain, what do you mean scale that?
Scale it. So you've targeted the shows. So if it's you doing it, every business owner is the greatest bottleneck to their business, right? So part of the game in growing a business is figuring out how to remove yourself as a bottleneck.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you got into Target, one of the amazing things about Target is that you have massive distribution across the country, right? That's just all of a sudden that's just massive distribution. By
Yeah.
going to Christmas shows, it means you have to do it or your family is doing it. So there's a limit. You can physically only go to so many shows. So if you were going to do 10 shows all at the same time, how would you do it?
Well, this year was the first year that I had someone else go to one of the shows while I was at a show.
There you go.
So I
There you
had, my mom went to one in Amarillo while I was in Abilene. And that was the first time that we've done that. And because those are, I'm like, if I can go to 10 shows during Christmas, I've got to have help. So that's the thing, finding the right people, not just an employee, but somebody that, loves the product like you do, that has a passion for, teaching beard care to people. And at the beginning, most men were like, "You're a woman, you don't know diddly jack about any of this." And I would sit there and tell them all the things, and they were like, "Oh, I didn't know that." And I'm like, mm-hmm. And so there for a while, I would call myself the non-bearded beard lady, and
the non-bearded,
just non-bearded beard
so
lady.
that sounds awesome. So are you doing almost educational videos on like TikTok, YouTube, the social media platforms about how to take care of your beard?
No, I am not a big lover of social media. It is.
Write that
It's funny
down.
what you won't be when you keep on saying you're not going to be it.
I know that.
Write that down. It's
so
an
that
idea.
is one of the things that I've gotten better at it. So,
When you're
and that's
providing a
always
service,
something I work on.
yeah, I think you nailed something right there. Is that most men really won't know how to take care of their beard. Like most men really don't know how to take care of anything, technically. But if you can provide that education part, I mean, I think that's something that can go viral. You have your website there. You can move product through the internet, and then that's awesome. No, I think you guys. I think Piper, now at your young age, once you've tasted the ability to make money and that you could be the driver of that or the motive power, your life is forever changed. So good for you, and good for you too, as parents, to introduce her to that. I mean, you've done her a blessing, I believe, beyond. I can't even put it into words. So that's good work.
Yeah,
really good work.
No doubt.
And
Yeah,
Piper
you're
is a big hustler. Like she hustles no matter what she does. She hustles.
Cool.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right, good. Piper, then read the book. It's called The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand.
Fountainhead?
The Fountainhead.
Yeah, it's a big book, but
recommended reading.
And notice the character or the archetype character of Howard Rourke, because the motive power is rare, right? And part of what we do as getting results is protect the motive power, because people like you who are willing to earn their own income and create their own world are rare. Yet you are the very kind of person that drives America and what makes America great. So appreciate you, appreciate your service, appreciate your parents that are doing an amazing job. I mean, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
You're going to make me cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you should read it too.
I will.
Well, actually, the whole family should read it. Yeah,
Great book.
It's one of my favorite books. It's
should
big,
be,
though.
It's
big, so don't yell at me because it's big.
Should be mandatory reading for everybody.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually listen to it on Audible too. So, but that's silly. It's awesome. Good. I'm proud of all you.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. Phenomenal work.
Very
Thank
cool.
you.
Good. I can't wait to see you on Shark Tank.
So let me ask you guys. So if you had to do this all over again, would you do anything differently? And if so, what would it be?
I would, but there was a day where I handed this thing off. And although I could have input, I am not in the day to day of this anymore. And whatever makes her happy is what I support. And the way I do things is not the way she would do things. But to answer your question, I would be early, I would have adopted manufacturing and taken that part of the equation out of the equation. I mean, it's still part of the equation, but my hands would not be touching the products. That makes Holly's skin crawl because it's so personal to her, and she
Mm,
knows every drop that goes into every bottle, and shit. It's made with love, and there's something endearing about that. But to me, I'm like, I can't be out developing cells if I'm sitting there mixing oils like that. I've only got so much time, and I would have, if I had any inclination that this would turn into anything, I would have led with that. But kind of showed up like, oh crap, we're making money at this now. I don't have the time to do it. It's already generating more than our personal training is. Do you want to take this over, or are we going to let it die on the vine? And that's how it got started. But yeah, that's where I would go first. Is we got to have a focus on distributing. Who are we going to distribute to? How are we going to get in those stores? What contacts do I need to make, and who's going to make the stuff for me? That's what
yeah.
I would have done different.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, on that note, for our listeners, where can our listeners find your products, and how would they find those products?
I'll give them the websites.
It's westtexasbeardco.com. And I will put this up here so you can have it. Well, no, you put it in chat.
I'll put it in the show notes
I
as
bet you
well.
could put it in the link.
Yeah, in the link.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then all of our men's and women's products are there. T-shirts, hats, all the things that you can go on and read about us, about the story. And
As far as where else to find it, like unless you're local to Lubbock, it's not
Yeah.
going to help you guys out. Like the online store is
it's where
is the place to go.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And for our listeners, do they get it? Are we going to give them a special promotion code or anything like that?
I bet we are.
Yes, we will. I will send it to you in a link.
Love it. Very cool. Because like I said to you, Chris, I got several clients that do have beards, and I think they are listeners as well. So I'm sure they will be consumers of this product as well.
Yeah. I'll give you one little trick, Gino, while I'm thinking about it.
Yes, sir.
Just on the use, like anybody who's out there listening, years ago, the oil replaced my shaving cream. So I don't use shaving cream anymore. I just put a little extra oil and I don't, no bumps, no rash, no nothing, but that removes something from our, I don't know, our medicine cabinet mirror or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no more shaving cream. Just use the oil.
Interesting. Very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, see, you got a pro tip. Love it.
Yeah, pro tip.
Love it. Cool. Anything else that you guys would like to share about your company or your experience before we start to close out?
I will say, I didn't tell y'all this, but all of our oils and butters, everything we use is all organic and natural. We use cold press oils and butters versus expeller press. So it's basically the same as expeller. It's a way of heating up that bean quicker and getting the oil out fast. So it kind of takes all the vitamins and nutrients out. We do the cold press, which is more expensive, and it takes longer to get that oil out of that bean. So we use high quality ingredients to make all of our products. So
Awesome.
that's something I feel like sets us apart.
Very cool.
Yeah, I would add, Gino, since we started doing this, the shop local or shop small business community, it's a real thing. Us doing this has made us way more conscious of whenever we do go out and buy stuff just for our family, we try to buy small and buy local because, as you guys know, I mean, y'all started stuff from scratch. It's a tough go. And, we appreciate everybody that buys We appreciate everybody that buys from us. And, it's allowed us to go on trips together. It's allowed us to afford our kids opportunities these last 8 years that otherwise we wouldn't have. And so, just a thank you to anybody who's thinking about purchasing that ends up, and people maybe who are listening right now that already have. It means a lot to us, and it doesn't go unnoticed for sure.
Love it. Thank you very much, you guys, for being here. Like Ken said, it's pretty amazing to do this as a family, and it must have been such a great experience, and is a great experience for you all that you'll never forget. What I always like to do in a podcast is give Super Coach, any last words before we close out. So, Super Coach, any last words for you?
What a great example of keeping America safe for capitalism. But what I am most shocked and amazed about is talk about the slight edge, and a super exploitable slight edge, that for beard care, the major client is female. That totally blows my mind. And that is brilliant to know. And I think that, to me, that changes everything. That knows exactly who you need to go for, who you need to put the product in front of. And that, man, I would have never, ever thought that. But congratulations, good work. Keep it going. And don't be afraid to expand. And always remember, every business owner, the greatest inquiry that we all have, the greatest bottleneck to our businesses is ourselves. So the game is, how do you make yourself more and more irrelevant? And here's the great irony about becoming irrelevant. You actually become more and more relevant. Like, how many rockets do you think Elon Musk built today? 0, right? He did not build one rocket, but I bet you many rockets got built. Appreciate all of you. Let's keep keeping America safe for capitalism. Hoorah!
Thanks, Ken.
All right, go be wonderful.
Thanks, Super Coach.
All right, bye.
Thank you, West Texas Baird Company. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed today's podcast and got value from it, please share our podcast, follow us. We can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and of course our website at gettingresultsinc.com. Once again, thank you, Lambert family, for being our guest today, and really appreciate it and wish you a lot of luck in the future. And until next time, be great.